don't have to, you know.
I don't like.
Admiring the plan.
Yeah, I do too. I think they still make them.
Yeah.
All of it is
Yeah.
very
Right, but, you know,
distinctive.
this kind of stretch would be, it's just that much
That much further
further
away.
with the,
It would.
Is that a 0016?
what?
Double,
It's a 28.
oh, 28, oh,
Yeah, yeah, it looks like it's further away.
oh, yeah, yeah,
Where'd you go?
nice.
Yeah, it's lovely, lovely with the water.
Yeah.
You pull that one off. First buys with Mercedes.
Yeah.
You ever been to the Martin factory?
I haven't,
No,
but have you?
I've been 3 times.
Oh, yeah?
If you get out that way, it's a great
Just a
tour.
tour?
Yeah, it's a great tour.
No, it must be. I'd love to do it sometime, but you don't often, it's sort of like not on a path that we normally travel
Yeah.
to get the massive.
When I was working, I happened to have a customer out that way, so I would always either stop on the way out or the way back.
Hold it.
So you play with the, you're with the ukulele too? You do that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I play in a couple of bluegrass bands.
Oh, okay, great, yeah. Ones that I would have seen around or?
Maybe. We've changed our name since, but it used to be Merrimack Valley Bluegrass Band.
Okay,
And
I guess we're starting.
All right.
That funny little tune was first published in 1803 in Northampton, Mass. The man who wrote the tune was a young boy in West Africa at about age 14 when he fell into the hands of slavers who brought him to America. And when he got to Newport, Rhode Island, a local family, a sea captain named Caleb Gardner, bought, or you might say rescued him from the slavers. The Gardners brought the young boy up in their family. His African name was Ocrimer Mariku, but the Gardners renamed him Newport Gardner. And he grew up with the Gardners. They educated him, and when they found that he had a musical talent, they had him trained by a very high-level professional musician. And he became eventually a freedman, a very highly respected member of the Newport community, a teacher and a preacher, and a composer. And he composed that tune, which he called Crooked Shanks. The reason why that little tune is important is because what we want to try to explain a little bit in this presentation today is how the fabric of American music, which has been so dominant over the whole world in the last 100 years, has from really early days. There's a couple of seats up front here, you guys. Do we need more chairs? Let's see what we can do.
If we don't want to split up with this.
Yeah, here you go.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. this fabric of American music has from the earliest days had all these interwoven threads. So you have before 1800, an African born in Africa writing a little tune that's a very classic English country dance style tune in the provinces. And there's another second tune that I want to play, which is illustrative of the same idea. It's called A Successful Campaign, and I'll tell you a little story about it after we play it. So, in the same time that Oprah America was living in Newport, the American Revolution happened. And in 1778, George Washington and the American Army were in Newport to greet the French fleet, which had come to ally with the Americans. And so in Newport, they had a great ball to welcome the French officers. And at the ball, the admiral of the French fleet and the captains of the ships and the generals and whatnot were there with George Washington and the American officers. And George Washington, who loved to dance, was dancing with the belle of the ball, a young teenage woman named Mary Chapin. And so he asked her what dance she would like to do, and she told him the name of the dance. And when the French officers heard the name of the dance, they went over to the orchestra, and the officers took the instruments from the musicians, and they sat down and they played the tune while the American officers danced. And the name of the tune was, it's not really a military tune, it refers to more like to interpersonal relationships. And that's the name of the tune, A Successful Campaign. Okay, you can think about that for a second. So there's a tune that was probably written anonymously in England around 1760, but was well known to officers of the French court, admirals and generals, but was also known and popular in the provinces, in Newport, Rhode Island, a small town on the edge of the world. So there was this force of music coming from Europe, which was being mixed with other strains, particularly, as we know, the African American strains. So we have one last tune that we want to do before we go on to some of the more vocal music. This last tune came from a man whose name was Anthony Clapp. Anthony was born into slavery in Groton, Connecticut. He grew up as a slave in Groton, and then when he was about 30 years old, his master moved him to Long Island, and they lived in a small town in Long Island, in Setauket, on the north shore of Long Island. And Anthony apparently was just a really cheerful, happy guy. And there's a wonderful epitaph that was written for him that you can see in the museum in Setauket that just says, it gives glowing praise of Anthony and what a great guy he was. He wrote a number of tunes, and when he was a very elderly man, a young boy came and watched him play. And that young boy grew up to be a man named William Sidney Mount. Now, most of you might possibly have heard of him. William Sidney Mount was one of the most famous American artists of the 1800s, the 19th century. And he made many pictures which are in all the famous museums in the MFA and in the Metropolitan and so on. And a number of his pictures show mixed a black musician playing banjo or fiddle, or a white musician playing with a black musician watching together in Setauket. They're what we call genre paintings. William Sidney Mount remembered all his life having seen Anthony Clapp when William was a small boy, and he made a collection of tunes that we believe many of them came from Anthony Clapp. So this tune that we'll play is, we don't know what Anthony called it, but everyone for the last 200 years has called it Setauket, and has in it a funny little twist, which you may catch, that we think is the beginning of the kind of syncopated change that came into European music as a result of the black ear. Okay, so this tune is Setauket. Of course, people didn't all have instruments, and there was lots of vocal music, and you've heard of old ballads. This next song that Mary Lou's going to do, we know that it goes back as far as 1660, because in 1660, Samuel Pepys, the famous diarist in London, wrote this song down in his diary and said that he and his friends had performed it at a drunken New Year's Eve party the night before. So this song was recorded by folklorists such as James Child and Cecil Sharp and Maud Karpeles, and almost every famous folklorist recorded a version of this song. There are hundreds of versions. It was probably pretty safe to say that this was the best known song in English language for at least 200 years, from the 1600s until the middle 1800s and even beyond. So this is Child Ballad number 84, which is the Bonnie Bart Bigelow. And Marila's going to just say a couple of words about the instrument that she's playing here.
So this instrument is called an Appalachian dulcimer, also known as a mountain dulcimer, a lap dulcimer, or even a hog fiddle. And the hog fiddle, actually, that colloquial term came from West Virginia, and it just kind of meant common or simple. So it's just a simpler type of instrument compared to the fiddle. And this instrument actually came here in various forms, but most resembled an instrument by German immigrants called the German Scheitholt, which was a zither-like instrument that had 3 strings for melody and 6 strings for chords. And so German immigrants brought that to Pennsylvania, and then slowly that instrument traveled down the south through the Philadelphia road to Virginia. And it first became an instrument, an American instrument, in the 1800s in Southwest Virginia. And there's different forms of styles of this instrument. Like in Southwest Virginia, they had either the boat style or teardrop. This one is more like the Kentucky version, where it's got an hourglass shape, and in Tennessee it actually had a box, like a rectangular shape, and they called it the Tennessee music box. People just slowly, it became a totally American instrument. It just morphed from there were other instruments similar, like that came from Sweden, Norway, and France, but the German Scheitholt is the most similar out of the shapes. And the first ones did not have frets that went straight across. They only were partially fretted, and people played it with a noter. Actually, this is, so instead of fretting, they used this type of slide kind of piece of wood that actually went across and just on the melody string, and then the bass and the middle string were the drone strings. So yeah, pretty cool actually. In the very month of May, spring buds all were swelling. Sweet William on his deathbed lay, for the love of Barbara Allen. He sent his servants to the town, place where she was dwelling. Come to my master dear, if you name me Barbara Allen. And slowly, slowly she got up, slowly she drew nigh him, but the only words that she did say, young man, I think you're dying. Turned his face onto the wall, death was in him welling. Goodbye, goodbye. goodbye to my friend. Oh, be good to Barbara Allen. When he was dead and laid in the grave, she heard the death bells knelling, and every stroke to her did say, hard-hearted Barbara Allen. Oh, mother, mother, make my bed, make it long and narrow, while my true love died for me yesterday, I should die for him tomorrow. While she was buried in the old churchyard, he was buried beside her, and out of the heart there grew a rose, out of Barbara Allen's a briar. Why they grew and they grew in the old churchyard, till they could grow no higher. And they formed a true love's knot. The rose grew round the briar.
So Mary Lou, what are the string notes on those 3 strings?
Well, typically, modern dulcimers tend to be played in D, A, D,
Okay.
but there are like hundreds of tunings.
Tunings.
Yeah, where you can tune to modal tuning. Because it's a diatonic instrument as well, some of the tunings can just automatically go to a modal kind of scale. And but I actually have a capo on it, so that I could play the chord forms while I did this little riff type of thing. So I just have it in G, singing wise, you know.
Thank you.
So all this music came from Britain and Europe. Barbie Allen, hundreds of years old, even in early colonial days. And once the music got to America, it began to change and be influenced by all the different groups of people, the Germans and the blacks and all the different groups. So this next song is a great example of a song that changed quite dramatically after it arrived. It started out in the 1600s as an English Christmas carol, but when it came to America, it turned into a children's song, a counting song to learn how to count, and also a play party, a game that children would play at parties, and also probably adults as well. So I'm going to do this song without any instruments, because most of the people didn't have any instruments, of course. But it does require everybody to clap their hands. Okay? So I'm going to get you all going on clapping your hands, all right? And there are a couple of refrains. This is a counting song, so there are verses that go up to 20 or 30 different verses. We're not going to do that. We'll only do a few verses. But we'll give you a chance to practice your clapping. Okay. The song says, children, go where I send thee. How shall I send thee? I'll explain how, and then you say, born in Bethlehem. And if you want, I think that's in your little sheet there. And if you'd like to sing along with that, you're more than welcome. And also, I want you to be very creative in your clapping. So I'll just clap like this. But I think you guys can think up some more original ways to clap.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if that helps you out.
Children, go where I send thee.
How shall I send thee?
I'm gonna send thee one by one, one for the little baby. Born, born, born in Bethlehem. Children, go where I send thee.
How shall I send thee?
I'm gonna send thee two by two, two for Paul and Silas, one for the little baby.
Born, born, born in Bethlehem.
Children, go where I send thee.
How shall I send thee?
I'm gonna send thee three by three, three for the Hebrew children, two for Paul and Silas, one for the little baby.
Born, born, born in Bethlehem.
Children, go where I send thee.
How shall I send thee?
I'm gonna send thee four by four, four for the four who stood at the door, three for the Hebrew children, two for Paul and Silas, one for the little baby.
Born, born, born in Bethlehem.
Oh, you guys are good. We put Oh Susanna on the back of the sheet there so that everybody can sing along with us. And we're gonna sing, I think we're gonna sing the first verse and the second verse, and then we'll sing the first verse again just because why not, right?
I come from Alabama, the banjo on my knee, and I'm going to Louisiana, my true love for the sea. It rained all night and the daylight, the weather it was dry. The sun so hot, I froze to death, Susanna, don't you cry. Oh, Susanna, oh, don't you cry for me. I come from Alabama with a banjo on my knee. Again. Oh, Susanna, oh, don't you cry for me. I come from Alabama with a banjo on my knee. Well, I had a dream the other night when everything was still. I thought I saw Susanna walking up the hill, but we came Susanna, oh, don't you cry for me. I come from Alabama with a banjo on my knee. Oh, Susanna, oh, don't you cry for me. I come from Alabama with a banjo on my knee. Oh, I come from Alabama with a banjo on my knee. And I'm going to Louisiana to fly for the sea. It rained all night and the day I left, the weather it was dry. The sun so high I froze to death. Susanna, don't you cry. Oh, Susanna, oh, don't you cry for me. For I come from Alabama with a banjo on my knee. Oh, Susanna, oh, don't you cry for me. For I come from Alabama with a banjo on my knee.
So this here is a modern form of a banjo. And originally, banjos first appeared first came to North America and the Caribbean in the 17th century. And they were, came here by enslaved people taken from Central and West Africa. And their instruments were actually made of gourds, and they had animal skins stretched across them with either guts for strings that were attached to a wooden stick at the top, or even vegetable fibers that they made the skin to the strings out of. The African banjo, with its really complex rhythms, came to America and united with the European fiddle. And that became America's first dance music, because you've got this beautiful melodies and then this complex rhythmic, people just started to dance, you know. And then in the 19th century, actually, minstrel music spread across America and the UK, and it was through minstrel shows. And that was 100 years of popular music, minstrel music was. After that, it ensued mass productions of 5-string and 4-string banjos. And they were from mail order sales. You could get construction books, instruction books, not construction books, but people still, the rural homemade banjos still remain part of the culture as well. But, so this next song is called Follow the Drinking Gourd, and there is some, thought that this was part of the Underground Railroad. Having songs or lyrics that might actually help enslaved people find their way to freedom. And so this song was, whether it really was this particular song, but formations of this song, I think, did help instruct people to find their way to freedom, and a lot of people along the way who helped them. So if you would sing along to this song, it's called Follow the Drinking Gourd. You'll probably all recognize it.
Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. For the old man is waiting for the carriage. make way, mighty good road. Dead trees will show you the way. Left foot, peg foot, carry it on. Follow the dream. Follow the drinking road. Follow the drinking road. For the old man is waiting for you to carry you to freedom. To follow the drinking road. Sun comes back in the first quail dawn. Follow the drinking road. For the old man is waiting for you to carry you to freedom. To follow the drinking road. Follow the drinking road. Follow the drinking road. And the old man's waiting for you to carry you to freedom. Follow the drinking road. Well, the river ends between two hills. Follow the drinking road. There's another river on the other side. Follow the drinking road. Follow the drinking road. Follow the drinking road. The old man is waiting for you to carry you to freedom. Follow the drinking road. For the old man is waiting for you to carry you to freedom. Follow the drinking road.
Many of you have probably studied in school, and you know that in the first part of the 19th century, the early 1800s, there was a very strong romantic period. People were very sentimental. And around 1820, there was a sentimental musical theater production, a play in London that had a very popular song in it called Home Sweet Home. And that song spread quite rapidly, as did quite a number of songs that came from professional musicians or musical theater, and they went into popular life. And then sometimes popular songs went the opposite direction and went into the theater. But in this case, Home Sweet Home came out of the theater, spread around, and really said something important to people at that time. So important that when the Civil War came, supposedly Union soldiers were forbidden to sing this song because it made them so emotional about home that they all decided that they would want to get up and go there. Anyway, after the war, in the later part of the 19th century, when things were more urban, more industrial, that in many ways life became a little bit more cynical. And so this is a song that was written by a woman, but has a slightly different view than the original Home Sweet Home. The name of this song is "The Man Who Wrote the Home Sweet Home Never Was a Married Man."
Well, a man wakes up early in the morning, leaves his wife in bed. She lies there as the kid wake up and cry, get up and cook some bread. Well, let me tell you a thing or two that a woman like that won't ever do. And the man who wrote the Home Sweet Home never was a married man. He never had no loving wife to greet him with a frying pan. She'll meet you at the door when you're gonna come in and knock you down with a rolling pin. And the man that worked the home sweet home never was a married man. Well, a man comes in at dinner time, hungry and he wants to eat. Might have been quite well up in the bed, she lying there half asleep. He gets so mad that he pulls his hair. He swears and declares that he won't stay there. And the man that wrote the home sweet home never was a married man. Never had no loving wife to greet him with a frying pan. She'll meet you at the door when you're gonna come in and knock you down with a rolling pin. And the man that wrote the home sweet home never was a married man. Man comes in from work at night, tired and he goes to bed. Baby lying there in the cradle, screaming like her way the dead. He'll sit and rock for about an hour and never lend a hand to help prepare. And the man that wrote the home sweet home never was a married man. Never had no loving wife to greet him with a frying pan. She'll meet you at the door when you're gonna come in and knock you down with a rolling pin. And the man that wrote the home sweet home never was a married man. We did that, and a man came up afterward and made a point of telling me that never in his 50 years of marriage had his wife ever met him with a rolling pin. I said, well, yes.
Well, maybe rolling pins have kind of went out of style.
I should have said, what was it she met you with?
We have a little costume change going on.
Why, howdy, farmer. How do you do?
Well, I do just as I please.
Well, have you lived here all your life?
Not yet.
Well, what I mean is, how long have you been living here?
Why, you see that mountain over there? It was just a hole in the ground when I came here.
Well, say, farmer, can I take this road to Little Rock?
Why, you don't have to. They have roads all of their own.
What I mean is, does it go to Little Rock?
Why, it hasn't gone a step since I've been watching.
Well, can I ford this creek?
I saw a duck ford it just this morning.
What I mean is, how deep is it?
There's water clear to the bottom.
Well, farmer, why don't you fix your roof? I see that it's leaking.
Why, it's raining out.
Well, why don't you fix it when it's not raining?
Because it doesn't leak then.
Well, you're not very smart, are you?
Why, I ain't the one that's lost.
There's not much between you and a fool.
Just this hair banjo.
Well, farmer, I'm tired of hearing just the first part of that tune. Why don't you pay the rest of it?
Why, you got a fiddle, you can play it yourself.
Well, I don't mind if I do. The minstrel shows that Mary Lou mentioned are a very, very difficult part of our musical history because, as many people are aware, they were very explicitly racist. And there was a period in our history when the minstrel shows really, in a way, showed the admiration that people had for the music of black people, but at the same time they were cruel and mocking. That tradition gradually warped over much of the 19th century, and things changed to the point where Arkansas Traveler, the Little Arkansas Traveler skit, was not aimed at black people, but at rural whites. So that continues, and up to this very moment, continues to be a strain of humor that has to have some kind of target. And the target has shifted, thankfully, from racial targets for the most part, and into making fun of people who are somehow make themselves targets, I think, in recent days. We have another thread of that kind of development from minstrel shows where there continue to be humor, but it's humor sometimes directed at the rich and powerful. And this song, it has a little bit of that direction to it. And we also have a little feeling about this, that this is one of the threads that's a kind of an ancestor of rap music. Okay, so this is
Very distant ancestor.
we'll see how it comes out. Oh, I'm starting here.
Well, a man named William Morgan took his girl to see a play, and on the journey homeward they stopped into a cafe. As soon as they were seated, Liza grabbed for the bill of fare, called the waiter and she ordered everything was there. Bill said, "I know you're hungry, girl, and I don't mean to squeal, but who do you suppose is going to pay for such a meal? You may have known me pretty long, but you sure have got my initials wrong. My name is Morgan, but it ain't J.P. I said my name is Morgan, but it ain't J.P. You must think I own a railroad company. You may have known me pretty long, but you sure got my initials wrong. My name is Morgan, but it ain't J.P. Bill Morgan married Liza, thinking he could change her ways. But what she did to William, I am most ashamed to say. Whenever she'd go shopping, she'd buy everything she'd see. And what she could not pay for, had it sent home COD. One day, 6 big delivery wagons backed up to Bill's door. They asked him to accept the goods while they went back for more. It didn't take Bill very long to find his hat and coat. When Liza returned again, she found this little note. It said, "My name is Morgan, but it ain't J.P. There is no bank on Wall Street that belongs to me. You may know me pretty long, but you'll sure got my initials wrong. My name is Morgan, but it ain't J.P. My name is Morgan, but it ain't J.P. There ain't no Texas oil that belongs to me. You may know me pretty long, but you sure got my initials wrong. My name is Morgan, but it ain't J.P.
Well, Americans love technology, that's for sure. And we have done for a long time. So quite often our music has reflected that. There are lots and lots of railroad songs. And when fads like the bicycle came along, then there were lots of bicycle songs, you know, Bicycle Built for Two and many others. And even Come Take a Ride in My Flying Machine, okay? One of the greatest fads that we had was the telephone. And the first telephone number 1 and telephone number 2 in the world were installed in Massachusetts in 1877. By 1899, there were over 350,000 phones in the US, and everybody wanted one. And there were thousands and thousands of phones overseas as well. So since this was such a tremendous and important invention, we made sure that it was only used for the most serious purposes, just as today our highly technical smartphones are used only for the most serious. Anyway, this is a little song about this is a little song about the telephone. Hello? Hello, is that Central? Central, can you hook me up across the line? Hello, Central, is anyone there? Hello, Central? I've got a little baby and she's out of sight. I talk to her across the telephone. I've never seen my baby, but she's mine all right. So take my tip and leave this girl alone. Every single morning you will hear me sing, hey Central, pick me up across the line. She connect me with my baby and I ring the bell. And this is what I say to baby mine. Hello, my baby, hello, my honey, hello, my ragtime gal. Send me a kiss by wire, you know it. Baby, my heart's on fire. If you refuse me, honey, you lose me. You'll be left alone. Oh, baby, telephone and tell me I'm your own. Hello? Oh, the wires are crossed again. Hello? Is anyone, what the hell? Hello? Hello? This morning through the phone she said her name was Bess. Now I kinda know where I am at. I'm satisfied cause I've got my baby's address written in the lining of my hat. I think I got it right here. Wait a second. Oh, let's see now. Oh, that's my bar bill, I think. And, oh, what's this? What's this? Is this it? Oh, no, that's the racing forms. Oh, there it is. Oh, no, that's Mary. Wait, where's Bess? I misplaced it. Oh, I won't worry about it. I'm kind of worried if the wires get crossed, 'twill separate me from my baby mine. Some other fool will get her, and the game is lost. So every day I shout across the line. Hello, my baby, hello, my honey, hello, my ragtime gal. Send me a kiss by wire. Honey, my heart's on fire. If you refuse me, honey, you lose me, then you'll be left alone. Oh, baby, telephone and tell me I'm your own. Hello? Hello? What? What? She hung up on me.
Well, what we heard there was a reference to Ragtime, his Ragtime Gal. ragtime was musical craze in America starting in the late 1880s, and it was played mainly by black musicians, at least initially, and it infused sort of traditional march music, like John Philip Sousa kind of stuff, martial music, with the really distinctive syncopated rhythm that the Africans had brought here to the United States. And ragtime was really enormously influential on the development of other American forms like jazz and blues, and eventually rock and roll. The biggest composer of ragtime at that time and maybe ever was a pianist named Scott Joplin. And he became the genre's most influential artist. He was known as the king of ragtime. And he composed more than 40 ragtime pieces, plus a ragtime ballet and 2 ragtime operas. Perhaps one of his early and perhaps one of his most famous compositions was the Maple Leaf Rag. And some of you might recognize it. I'm going to play it here to some degree on the guitar. Bear in mind that Scott Joplin was a pianist, and he composed and the guitar is a somewhat different instrument, but we'll do what we can. Well, and ragtime was a major influence on a number of, as I said, a number of different musicians, and there was a sort of little known, at least at this time, a minstrel musician who named Emmett Miller, who was influenced by ragtime, by black music, by the Tin Pan Alley, which was where the sort of the song mill that came out of New York. And Emmett Miller was wildly influential on the development of particularly country music. He had a kind of distinctive style. He introduced the kind of yodeling that became so well known. And in fact, the great country singer Merle Haggard once said that without Emmett Miller, there wouldn't be country music as we know it today. You agree that? And one of the compositions that he didn't write but popularized, then later on became a huge hit for Hank Williams about 25 years later after Emmett Miller recorded it. It's called the Lovesick Blues, and I'm going to sing it and play it the way it was first recorded in the 1920s by Emmett Miller, which won't sound there'll be some differences between, if you're used to the Hank Williams version, there'll be some differences to what you hear me do right now and that, but you'll certainly recognize the song, so. And it came, and it came from a skit as well, and we're gonna just do part of that to give you a flavor of it.
Why, David, you sure do look like you've got the miseries.
Oh man, I ain't got no miseries. I got the blues. That's what's the matter with me.
Why, birds singing in the trees, the sun is shining, you shouldn't have no blues.
Oh, I know I shouldn't have them, but I've got every known indication of being in that condition.
Well, what's the matter? Did they lock up your bootlegger?
No, it wasn't that. I went home this morning. I peeped through the window, and that sweet little thing of mine had run out. And now I've got them lovesick blues. I'm in love with a beautiful gal. That's what's the matter with me. I'm in love with a beautiful gal. She don't care about me. I tried to make her love me. I tried, oh, I sighed and cried, but she just refused. And ever since my mama's gone away, I've got them lovesick blues. I got a feeling called the blues, oh Lord, since my mama said goodbye. I don't know what to do, all I do is sit and cry. Oh Lord, now that long day we spent alone, I'm yearning for it yet. She'll do me, she'll do you, got kind of loving. I never will forget the way she called me sweet daddy. Such a beautiful dream. I hate to think it's all over. I lost my heart at sea. I've grown so used to her somehow. Oh, I'm nobody's sweet papa now. It's awful when you're lonesome. You got the lovesick blues. Oh, Lord. Now, one of the guys that Emmett Miller heavily influenced was Jimmy Rogers, who was the known, called the king of country music. Some call the father of country music, but he wrote. Jimmy Rogers wrote about 100 songs, I think, in his relatively brief career, because he died in 1933, and in his 30s. Of tuberculosis. The song we're going to do now, "In the Jailhouse Now," wasn't a song, wasn't one of the 100 that he wrote, but he did popularize it tremendously, and his style of doing it was copied by everyone else who did it after that. Well, I got a friend named Rambling Bob. He used to gamble, steal, and rob. Thought he was the swellest guy in town. But I found out last Monday, Bob got locked up Sunday. They got him in that jailhouse way downtown. He's in the jailhouse now. He's in the jailhouse now. I told him once or twice, quit playing cards and shooting dice. He's in the jailhouse now. I went out last Tuesday. I met a girl named Susie. I told her I was the swellest guy in town. She started spending my money, then she started calling me honey. Well, we hit every honky tonk in town. We're in the jailhouse now. We're in the jailhouse now. They told us once or twice, quit playing cards and shooting dice. We're in the jailhouse now. Adiole, adiole, adiole. Now the other musical form, American musical form that was catching on at the time, or it started to catch on a little later, was the blues. Now the blues was really in the United States, it was largely done by the black musicians and the black singers. But the guy who first brought the blues to popular culture in America was a horn player and band leader called W.C. Handy. W.C. Handy is credited with writing and recording the first blues song, which was called the Memphis Blues. And he got he was various biographies of him said he was heavily influenced by when he was staying, I think, in St. Louis. He heard a bunch of workers, black workers, who were working and they were chanting and they were singing, and the art form stuck with him. And then he actually put it down in music. So the Memphis Blues is commonly regarded as the first blues song ever actually recorded or written in America. And another one of W.C. Handy's major blues songs is the one that Mary Lou is going to do for us now, the St. Louis Blues. This song was done with a full orchestra and various other things. And it's been recorded by, you've been recorded by innumerable musicians in different styles and different ways. And the one we're going to do now is based on the version that was sung by Bessie Smith, commonly called the First Lady of the Blues, a great blues singer. And the St. Louis.
I hate to see that evening sun go down. Oh, I hate to see that evening sun go down. It makes me think I'm on my last go round. Feeling tomorrow like I feel today. What if I'm feeling tomorrow like I feel today? I'll pack my trunk and make my getaway. St. Louis woman with her diamond ring pulls that man around tied her apron straight. If it wasn't for the powder and the store-bought hair, that man I love wouldn't go nowhere, nowhere. I got them St. Louis blues, just as blue as I can be. While my man's got a heart like a rock cast in the sea, or else he wouldn't have gone so far from me.
All right, so now we're gonna wind up the blues here. Well, Bessie Smith was performing with, Satchmo and orchestras and being very sophisticated with the blues. The Southern blacks who basically came up with the blues in the first place didn't stop playing it, and they developed their own kind of style of the country blues. And in the 20s, a whole bunch of country blues artists began to emerge. I'm going to do one song by one of them named Tommy Johnson. Tommy Johnson was no relation to another great legendary blues man named Robert Johnson, and there were several of them back then who really sort of framed the genre. The reason I'm doing this one song by Tommy Johnson is because it has a heavy bass component, and I think you can hear in here in this song called the Big Road Blues, how the guitar then was set on the pathway to become what is now, I think, the dominant instrument in rock and roll music, and it was those guys who sort of paved the way for that. So. You know, I ain't going down the big road by myself. Don't you hear me talking to you, pretty mama? Ain't going down that big road by myself. If you don't come with me, gonna have to carry somebody else. You know, the sun's gonna shine in my back door someday. Don't you hear me talking to you, pretty mama? Oh, the sun's gonna shine in my back door someday. Wind's gonna change and blow these blues away. I said, you what, baby, what do you do me like you do? Or do you do me honey like you do? Or do you do me like you do? Ain't no one in this world ever loved you the way I do. want you to reach in the corner, honey. Hand me my traveling shoes. Don't you hear me talking to you, pretty mama? Oh, reach in the corner, honey. Hand me my traveling shoes. 'Cause you know I got 'em. I got them Bigelow blues.
Well, we don't want to leave you with the blues, so we have a little bit happier song to end with. But first, I want to say this is David Schneider, Mary Lou Ferrante, I'm Matt McConaughey, and we want to say thank you to the Clinton Cultural Committee for having us come, and the Bigelow Library for hosting us down here. We thank you very much for them. So in your little sheet there, you got the chorus to this song, and whatever dark days may come upon us in the near future, keep on the sunny side. I'm sorry. What key are we?
Oh, no, I had to tune
We're in
it.
Q.
G.
We're in Q. It's nice.
Okay.
Yep.
There's a dark and a troubled side. There's a bright and a sunny side too. Though we'll meet with the darkness and strife, the sunny side we also will do. Please, everyone,
Keep on the sunny side, always on the sunny side. Keep on the sunny side of life.
it will help us every day. It will brighten our every day.
If we keep on the sunny side of life.
Storm and its fury break, crushing hopes that we cherish so dear. The storming cloud will in time pass away, and the sun can shine clear.
Keep on the sunny side, always on the sunny side. Keep on the sunny side of life. It will help us every day. It will brighten all the day. If we keep on the sunny side of life.
Let us give with a song of hope each day. Though the moment be cloudy or fair, and let us trust in our Savior always. Keep us everyone in care.
Keep on the sunny side, always on the sunny side. Keep on the sunny side of life. It will help us every day. It will brighten all the way. If we keep on the sunny side of life. Woo!
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Worth it for down here.
Absolutely. You too.